You guys are like little ants scurrying around back there. Welcome, everybody, to our Tuesday, October 17th work session. We'll call the meeting to order. I'm so happy to see happy faces in the audience. Thank you for being here today. First on the agenda, Ms. Cowan, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer Bramley, did you want to do that thing before we get into all these presentations?
The introduction? Absolutely, yeah. So Jorge, would you come up, and Barry, would you come up as well? We'd like to introduce you as our new facilities manager. Go ahead, Jorge.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. This is Barry Dowdy. He's our new facilities manager. He's been on the job for almost a month. So he comes.
He's
to
our
us,
new Keith.
Yeah, so he comes to us with a wealth of knowledge. He worked for Tech Data and Raymond James previously. So I'm going to let you tell him all about yourself.
Well, good morning, all.
Good morning, Barry.
I would have prepared something formally had I known I was going to be here up front. But yeah, it's an honor to be here and working in the public sector now. I can tell you, coming from the private sector, it's a very busy, demanding type of job. But just in my short time here, in the last 30 days, you have a lot of good people here in Dunedin. It's a pleasure to work with them. I can see why people would choose a career in the public sector. I have a background in all kinds of facility management, energy management to HVAC, plumbing, electrical, construction. We've built garages, 9-story buildings, parking garages, generator projects. So I have a wealth of knowledge, and I look forward to sharing that with the Commission and the City of Dunedin as the needs arise. So thank you for having me here this morning.
Well, thank you, Barry. We've needed somebody in your position for a long time, so
Very
we're
good.
so excited that you're here.
Very happy to be here.
And just for the Commission's knowledge, Barry's here today in Sue's spot in case there are any questions or items to be pulled on the consent agenda, which I'm presuming there are not. Thank you, Barry.
All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you, Barry.
I'm teasing. Anybody wants to pull something, they're more than welcome. Okay. Listen. Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll move on to our presentations. We have the National Friends of the Library Week, and I will turn that over to Commissioner Franny. Phyllis.
Ask Phyllis to come forward.
She has her library dress on.
Somehow I had it in my head you guys were the third presentation, but you know how that goes.
I'm bringing my friends up, too.
I love that. That's appropriate.
She's got a lot of friends.
She does, and she's got her famous book dress on. You know, great. So, well, first of all, we know we love our library and we love our friends. So, and I am a lifetime member of Friends. So, but you guys do the work. I'm not saying I do much work, but I support everything. So, National Friends of the Library Week. Whereas Friends of the Dunedin Public Library raise money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming, much-needed equipment, support for children's summer reading, and special events throughout the year. And whereas the work of the Friends highlights on an ongoing basis the fact that our library is the cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to present. And whereas the Friends understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research, readers' advisory, and children's services. And whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now therefore, I, Maureen Mulfraney, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Mayor of the City of Dunedin, and on behalf of the entire City Commission, do hereby proclaim October 15th to the 21st, 2023 as Friends of the Library Week in Dunedin, and urge everyone to join the Friends of the Library and thank them for all they do to make our library and our community so much better, which you all do, and we so appreciate that. Phyllis?
Thank you. Well, I'm going to have the Friends put this in their bookstore to show off to everyone how awesome they are. Our Friends of the Library were started in 1962, and they're a 501c3 that raises funds for the library, for our programming, for kids, teens, and adults, and they do so much more. And I tell everyone, I have best friends, not just friends. Mala Kohlhoff, the president, could not be here today, so I'd like to introduce Sandra Erickson. She's our vice president.
Welcome, Sandra.
Hi, thank you. So I didn't know I was going to be speaking. I'm not a good substitute for Mala, but I want to.
You're a great substitute. Don't you sell yourself short.
So we appreciate being invited here, and we certainly appreciate the proclamation. The Friends is a busy group. We just had a book sale, a gigantic book sale that raised money for some continuation of programs we already have in place and starting some new programs that, as you know, Phyllis is wonderful at always thinking up some new thing that the library can do to serve our community, and we appreciate Phyllis and the staff that's there. This Friday, we are having our yearly volunteer appreciation reception. Our theme this year is Volunteer Angels, and it's at 1 o'clock on Friday. We'll be serving angel food cake with all kinds of toppings, and so please come and join us. As you know, when you visit our library, from the time you approach the building, the reading garden, the reading garden, and until you walk through the foyer and into our activities and our books, our library says community in every way. We're working on a new playground, which will serve the community also. And so the greatest asset that our library has, besides our volunteers, is our staff. And it is a phenomenal staff that's always looking for ways to increase the things that we do for the adults, the teenagers, children of the Dunedin community. And so our volunteers, our Friends of the Library, are very proud to be a part of that. So thank you for the recognition.
Thank you. Ladies,
Picture
ladies,
time.
we want to get a picture.
Picture.
Come on back up.
Come back up.
Come on. Welcome. Okay, our next item under presentations is the Chamber of Commerce, who has several donations and awards they want to come forward with, so come on down.
Hey, good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right, I'm going first. So during this summer, the Dunedin Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation issued a call to artists within our local schools seeking a standout piece of student artwork to grace the cover of our forthcoming 2023-2024 directory. We received over a half a dozen submissions, each filled with talent, but one stood out. We proudly chose Maria Tesmutsi, who is here with us today. This is her drawing, if you can see.
It's beautiful.
I think they're about to put it up on the screen.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So that's going to be our directory cover. And Maria is a gifted student from a young age. She brings a unique perspective to her work. She has spent 6 years in Greece before relocating to Dunedin. Her artwork is a fusion of cultural influences and deep connections to our local community. She is in the Gifted program at Athenian Academy. And to express our appreciation and recognition, we will be awarding Maria with a certificate and a $200 check for her remarkable contribution. Her artwork will take its place on our cover, and it will go out to 15,000 households and businesses in Dunedin in mid-November. Please welcome Maria Tezmutsky. Do you want to say anything?
Sure. Well, thank you. And what inspired me was ever since I've lived here, you can imagine it's different from Greece. So certain things have stood out to me, even though like I've never been in the stadium, but like it stood out to me because it represented Dunedin in some way, and I tried to include everything I could in just one piece of artwork, merge it all together. So
It's beautiful.
thank you so
beautiful.
much.
You did a great job,
And
too.
we're going to make a change. We're going to make sure you get in that stadium this year. Tickets are on me. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Maria.
Yes. Okay, group picture. Okay. Sure. Do you want to hold up her? Yeah.
Roll back.
1, 2, 3, Maria. Everybody looking this way. Awesome, thank you. Look at me, please.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And the principal. Principal too. All right, 1, 2. Perfect. And me, please. 1, 2, 3.
There you go. Awesome. Okay.
You knew you'd have to hear from me this morning as well. Good morning. I am Gregory Brady, the interim president of the Greater Dunedin Chamber of Commerce at 301 Main Street in Dunedin. Thank you, Rebecca, for all of your work on getting this together, as well as Nicole Delfino. We really appreciate staff's work on this. I come today with great pride and sense of gratitude as we present several additional contributions besides the check and award that you just heard from. The sponsorship checks recognize winners and award winners for both our foundation and the Greater Dunedin Chamber of Commerce. Our sponsorship check this morning for the Downtown Dunedin Merchants Association, the DDMA, and its president, Isaac Wasilewski, is with us, is in support of one of the most iconic events here in Dunedin, Dunedin Wines the Blues, to ensure it remain part of our culture and the fabric of Dunedin. The DDMA plays a crucial role in fostering a vibrant downtown area that brings our community together, providing a unique experience for residents and visitors alike. You will also hear this morning from Kimberly Platt, who was our Pride Chair this year for Dunedin Pride, and she will be giving the check to the Caregivers Wellness Collective, Inc., and Jennifer Haynes is with us today, and she will speak to what the Caregivers Wellness Collective is. And last, we also want to recognize a new Dunedin family, Suzanne and Jamie Watson, who won our golf cart from our golf tournament this year. And it just so happens they won that golf cart right as they were closing on their new home here in Dunedin. So they are new Dunedin residents, a perfect couple to win this award. We also want to take the time to recognize and thank the City of Dunedin for all of your tireless effort and support of our entire community, our chamber, and all of the organizations like us that make Dunedin what it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring up Kimberly Platt, and Jennifer, and they can give you a little information about the Caregivers Wellness, and we will give her her check.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Hi, welcome.
My name is Kimberly Platt. I was the chair of Dunedin Pride this year. It was a super successful event. We measure that, hold on. We measure that by the number of sponsors. Yeah, I got it. We measure that by the number of sponsors and events we were able to host. It grew exponentially this year from last year. It seemed like every time we asked for help, we got it this year. Every business, I can count on one hand how many businesses didn't support us, and that might have been because they were out of town. Literally, all 5 of them were out of town and didn't know what was going on. So by the time they got back, they did donate in other ways, so that was fantastic. Our business community is amazing here. We actually raised $37,000 after all expenses, which is huge from the number we had last year, which was 0. The team of Chamber Leadership and AMG Music really did a fantastic job assisting the businesses host their events and kind of managing all that is Pride, which is sometimes kind of an animal. We put it in the businesses' hands this year and let them run their own events, and we were there just to support, which seemed like a very good plan, and it helped the businesses bring their people in, and our people came, and you guys all came, so thank you for that. I saw many of you at events. We chose Caregivers Wellness Collective, Inc. as our local charity to donate for their efforts local and nationwide. I'm going to let Jennifer tell you a little bit about them.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jennifer Henniest, and I'm the founder of the Caregiver Wellness Collective, Inc., which is a nonprofit startup here in Dunedin. I actually started that up during the pandemic. I came before you previously. I was advocating for military family caregivers. I am a caregiver, and I am a caregiver advocate, and that is inclusive of all our diverse family caregivers. The Caregiver Wellness Collective, Inc. is the home of the LGBTQ Virtual Caregiver Center. The aim of the center is to be a resource hub that's focused on LGBTQ caregivers and those who care for LGBTQ plus individuals. There are nearly 3 million LGBTQ senior adults over the age of 50. They are 4 times as likely to be living alone. They're 2 times as likely less to have children, and 1/3 of them live below the federal poverty line. So this is a group of vulnerable seniors who are in need of our support, and we need culturally competent resources that are available to them. And this funding is generous funding is going to help us provide some education and training and raise awareness of this unique population and their needs. So I'm really grateful for this funding. Thank you.
So let's give her a check.
Yay.
We were able to donate $2,000 to Jennifer and her organization, which we really believe in. And, for Pride, we really kind of focused on elder care, because that's something that I bet a lot of us haven't thought about. I definitely didn't until we started working with Jennifer, and I should, because I'm 52 years old and a lesbian, married lesbian. So here is our check for $2,000 to Jennifer. And we are so, so proud to be able to hand that to you.
Yay.
All right, 1, 2. Awesome, thank you.
Well, we're very...
In closing, real quick, I just want to say thank you guys, not just for your participation, but for your sponsorship. It means a lot to us, and we will be coming to you again to ask for it.
Well, we have to also say how thankful we are that 2 years ago, the Chamber partnered with us. We wanted to see a Pride event, and yeah, maybe you didn't raise any money last year, but it was definitely a wonderful first for our city that we are so proud of, and we were so proud of. Thank you, Mo, for being on the initial planning committee, and Gregory, and all the people that now are going to make this an annual event that is exceptionally important to our community. It's a lot of work, to do these things, and we can't thank the Chamber enough for their willingness to take this on, and fundraising for great organizations that we will all partake in at some point or another in our lives. Thanks for your hard work this year.
No problem. You're very welcome. I'm happy to do it. And again, you were a huge push for this, Julie, so thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Is there, Greg, are we done? I thought there was one more. No?
If Isaac would like to say something, he may.
He may.
Isaac Wazalewski, President of the Downtown Dunedin Merchants Association. I'd like to thank the Chamber for their generous contribution in our Downtown Dunedin Wines the Blues event this year. Had a lot of ups and downs with the event not happening, then happening, and the whole reason why it's able to happen is the community coming together, because this is something that has been a staple of this community for a long time now, and a lot of people just didn't understand what it goes into putting on this event, because it's always just happened and people thought it was going to happen. And it really moved away from what it was when it started, was that the fact that the resources weren't there and the community came together to bring the resources there to make this event happen. And then it took off, and now it came to a point where it got a little too much, and the community realized that, hey, we need to be part of this again. So it's great to have this partnership with the Chamber, with the city. And then starting this year, we actually had a large contribution from the larger community as a whole, where we've raised $2,700 from members of this community, citizens, residents, people who like to just come to these events. They wanted to contribute something to put on and make sure this event that they've enjoyed attending continues to happen. So we're just really grateful for our organization to have supporters from yourselves of the city, from the Chamber, from Visit Dunedin, so that we can continue these events into the future. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you. Oh, get a picture.
Oh, hey.
Another picture.
Okay.
I also want to thank the Chamber for partnering with their fellow business organizations to make this happen.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Join my world. All right, thank you, guys. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to. Okay. No. I'd run too. Okay, and then our final presentation is the Florida City Government Week, and I'll turn that over to Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Great. So this is in proclamation of Florida City Government Week, October 16th to the 22nd. Whereas city government is the government closest to most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents, and whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents, making their city their home. Whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to an understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along the understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Florida City Government Week is a very important time to recognize the important role played by city government in our lives. And whereas this week offers an important opportunity to convey to all Florida citizens that they can shape and influence government through their civic involvement. Whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach students and other citizens about municipal government through a variety of activities. Now, therefore, I, Robert James Walker, by virtue of authority vested in me by the Mayor of the City of Dunedin, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Commission, do hereby proclaim October 16th to October 22nd, 2023, as Florida City Government Week in Dunedin, and encourage all citizens, city government officials, and employees to participate in events that recognize and celebrate Florida City Government Week. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Teresa Smalling, Director of HR and Risk Management for the city. Thank you for acknowledging this important week in the lives of our municipalities. Florida City Government Week is an opportunity for cities to showcase government services and opportunities for civic involvement. One of the ways that the city of Dunedin does this is through our Citizens Academy. It's a 9-week program in which citizens are given firsthand experiences of the work and functions of city departments. And we have a slideshow that was put together by Communications. The last academy ended this past Thursday with a graduation ceremony at the Dunedin Fine Arts Center. And we had a city clerk coordinates that event each year. Activities included a tour of all facilities and presentations by city employees of the functions of each department. And there's a little bit of a competition, and I still maintain HR is the best. All our city employees gave presentations of the functions, and then the city of Dunedin will also commemorate this week with a variety of employee video cameos. So keep checking social media throughout the week. Thank you very much.
Awesome. We're very proud of all of that. Go ahead, Rob, you can say more.
Yeah, you know, as I was reading the proclamation, I said there's no truer instance than the city of Dunedin and what you do. This is just, or the Citizens Academy and everything that goes into this. It's just amazing. And anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And Jennifer, I'm sure you have stuff you want to say.
Oh, of course. No, well, first of all, Citizens Academy, it's amazing that we actually have a wait list. When we put out the applications, we actually have, more than slots that we have. And the time commitment, I'm just so grateful to all of those who attended Citizens Academy and graduated. It's 3 hours on a Tuesday night for 9 weeks. Yeah, that's a lot. And they learn so much about city government. And I always say during the opening night of Citizens Academy, we're doing our job when you don't realize we're doing our job. The toilets are flushing, the parks are clean, you have fresh, clean water, and all the other things that a municipal government does. But none of that would be possible without our residents and the commitment that they have to supporting local government. And you saw that today, actually, through the Chamber of Commerce and DDMA and all those other things, what all together we make the wheels roll on the city. And it's interesting just when I was in Austin, and thank you for letting me go to the International City Management Association conference. The first session was a Saturday morning. It was 4 hours long. It was about deployment of your strategic plan. And after the session, the facilitator came up and said, "I love Dunedin." And it was a national conference. And had been here several times and just wants to get back. And he reminded me that he had sent me several emails about helping us with our strategic plan so we can come back. So it's working. What it is we're doing is working, and it really takes all of us to make it work the way it does. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Rebecca, of course, was Citizen. I mean, I know this is about Florida Government Week, but Citizen Academy is taking it over. So Rebecca, certainly we want to thank you for taking over the program. We've heard nothing but great compliments. I'm sure you have something to add.
Really, it's the deans, Michelle Wells, Catherine Lashkick, and Francis, that volunteered from
Community development.
Community development, thank you. They did an amazing job. And the citizens, again, the 9-week commitment, we had great participation through all 9 weeks. So what a great graduation, what a great 9 weeks. And so, and lots, I think at graduation, real quick, I talked with one of the graduates, and I think he was so amazed at the dedication of our staff. He said it like 3 times in the conversation. And I said, and that's why we do what we do, is to get you back, because then they're stewards to be out there and knowing what all of the employees do. So thank you, Mayor.
Did you have anything else you want to add there, Teresa?
No,
Okay, picture? All right, let's do a picture. All right. All good stuff. All right, now we'll move on to citizen input. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on any item that's not already on the agenda? If it's on the agenda, we will give you the appropriate time to speak to it when that comes up. All right, seeing or hearing none, we're going to talk about consent agenda. See if poor Barry can get out of here. We have the approval of the minutes from the 8:15 work session and the 8:22 special meeting, board and committee appointments for Code Enforcement Board, ratifying the storm debris collection for Hurricane Idalia, not to exceed $150,000, downtown Dunedin Wines the Blues revocable license agreement, the award of bid for palm tree trimming, and the purchase of sodium hydroxide for, I'm assuming, our water and wastewater departments. Are there any items to be pulled? Of course.
2D and 2E.
2D is the downtown Wines the Blues, and E is the tree trimming.
And 2F, please.
They're doing this to spite me now. I'm really just,
Exactly.
I'm just
Exactly.
teasing. I'm totally teasing. They are allowed to do that. Okay, anything else? Okay, let's go ahead and approve the minutes and the Board of Committee appointments and the storm debris collection. Are there any people here to speak to those items? Seeing or hearing none, can I have a motion to approve those
So
three?
moved.
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Walker and Vice Mayor Twarnga. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And then we will go to the first item on the list, which is the Dunedin Wines the Blues. I think that was you, Commissioner Franny. Did you have a particular question?
I did. I did. I thought it was important because the agenda item doesn't really speak to it. We are doing a waiver of $6,597.22, which is, goes against our set policy. Not at all saying I disagree with it, but I think it's important to be transparent about the unique nature of why we're doing that, because we have a lot of special events and we know we can't afford to waive everything. So I didn't know if the city manager wanted to answer it or if you want staff to.
I think Vince is prepared to answer it, Commissioner.
Good morning, Mayor, City Commissioners. Vince Gizzi, Parks and Recreation Director, and with me is Jory Peterson, our Special Event Coordinator. So as Isaac came up and spoke to, the DDMA was financially unable to produce the Wines and Blues event this November, and we're going to cancel. And as a matter of fact, I believe they did cancel.
They did.
And then we brought it back. The event has been strategic value to our city and helps market the downtown, and it's done so for the past 30 years. The Parks and Recreation Department is recommending picking up the city cost to produce this event. The contribution, as Commissioner Freeney said, is a one-time contribution of $6,597. The private sectors also very much stepped up, as well as contributing financially and investing in this event. Isaac, as you saw, is here this morning to answer any further questions that Jory or I can't.
I mean, that's really all I had. I just think, other parts of the community stepped up. We saw, again, to me, this is a unique situation, a community need. It was canceled. Everybody kind of came together. You were at the meeting where people were like, hey, we got to make this happen. They were chipping in money and committing money, and it felt like the right thing to do for us to try to do our part for this particular event in this unique set of circumstances. So I thought it was important to put that out there. That's all.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commission? I agree. I do think it was a unique situation, and when one of our partners is suffering, we all step in, and as a community, we did that. It wasn't just a city thing. It wasn't just a government trying to solve something. It was a whole entire community coming together. And I think that's really important. Isaac stepped up to be the chair of an organization that, as a brand new business owner and a brand new person in Dunedin, had no real background in the organization itself. That in itself was huge, and he's done a great job, and we fully support him. We appreciate, as we said earlier, the chamber stepping forward to be a good partner. And I want to do, it's probably the 10th time I've done it in public in some form or another, but I also want to thank the OGs. I call them the OGs, the original gang, the original girls, the goats, that said, hey, we're going to try to fundraise and help this organization make this event what it used to be. They know who they are. I don't have to go through their names, but these are downtown business owners that really care about what's happening, that used to be the people to do this event. So, everybody from all walks of life have come together, and I want to thank our staff and our commission for being willing to make that contribution, because if everybody else is coming together but your city government doesn't, what statement are you making to the community? So, okay, anybody from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing or hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Franny and Commissioner Walker, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, then we'll go on to the palm tree trimming service. Was that you?
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to belabor this, but I guess I kind of wanted Craig and Vince to maybe highlight. As I looked at this item, we basically, and asked some questions in the background, we've been spending about $40,000, and we budgeted $50 for some additional. The bid came in at the lowest bid of $79,000. Closest bid to that was $164,000. I know that everybody did their due diligence so that the low bidder is going to do a legitimate job, has good references. But to me, it seemed like a great example of some rising costs, where we've done everything, including look, city manager, at could we do this in-house, because this has increased so much. So can you just comment about, do I have my facts right? And again, to me, it's like this is, again, an example of where we have to be cautious. We're providing a lot of services for our community, and we're facing these kind of rising costs. And maybe you have some idea why we're facing these kind of rising costs.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that we had the same contractor for nearly probably 6 to 8 years, and he didn't really raise his rates. And prior to that, another contractor had it, and it kind of stayed the same and didn't change, and probably should have. So over the years, it didn't, go up 3 to 5% or even 10%. So I think you're seeing a more true cost of what is reflective of what should be charged. And even at that 79,000, I think is still probably a little less than what it could have been. As far as doing it in-house, I would say I personally feel that it's more appropriate to subcontract this out. We can get all these palms pruned in a short, timely manner and very efficiently. And, with the staff that we have right now, they're dedicated to their particular spots and are sort of overworked and that sort of thing. But the prices vary, and the only reason I can assume that they vary that much, one of them said they didn't visit the site, so I'm assuming they threw a high dollar out, and if they got it, great. The other one was a concrete and excavation company doing palm pruning, so I'm assuming they were going to sub that work out or do something of that nature. And then the one that came in the lowest and is potentially awarded the bid does this for a living and habitually, and does provide the same services to other municipalities nearby.
And Craig, how many trees do they trim?
2,277 palms, and we have the option of adding palms as we see them, or if a palm dies or something like that, we can have it removed, and as a part of that contract, as well as any other trees. So And that has happened where we've added, maybe we've taken over a lease for a parking lot somewhere, and then we're maintaining the aesthetics of that, so we'll add that onto the contract. And it's broke down price per palm, per species of palm, so it's easy to do that.
The only reason I pulled this, is because I think, it's on the consent agenda, we look right over it. But the reality is, every day, our employees are doing their due diligence to look at these things. Should we do it in-house? It's an increasing cost. We bid it. We do our due diligence when we get the low bid to make sure they can do the job. And I think it's important to recognize that. So thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Comments? Questions? Does this include Douglas?
Yes, it does. And also, I did want to say that it's not in the agenda item, and it was just an oversight, that this is a 3-year agreement with a 2-year option, and there's a price adjustment of 3% each year after year 1.
Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak to this item? All right, seeing and hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Franny and Commissioner Gao. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. And then finally, we have the purchase of sodium hydroxide. I believe that's you, Commissioner?
That was me, Mayor. Thank you very much. I wanted to have this pulled for 2 reasons, and we can have a short presentation. And the reason for that is, one, it's Florida City Government Week. And as the city manager so proudly proclaimed, that when we're doing our jobs, you don't know we're doing our jobs. And this is certainly an aspect of that. And with the price tag that comes along with that, I just thought a little transparency and just tell the residents what we do with our time and money, their money.
Okay. No specific question. I think he just wants a
No.
presentation.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Nan Bennett, Director of Utilities. So on this particular item, the purchase of the 50% sodium hydroxide, this is a chemical that we use in the water treatment process to help adjust the pH of the water and for corrosion control, to make the water more stable so that it doesn't corrode any of the pipes that carry the water. We purchased this product through a cooperative bid with Tampa Bay Water to get the buying power of several different utilities, including the large ones like Tampa Bay Water. And it was bid number 2024-06, and we are asking for award to Allied Universal Corporation of Miami, Florida. They have been supplying this product to us. The agreement, if approved, is for a 3-year period. Wait a second, I'm sorry, a 1-year period through September 30th. I'm getting confused with the next one. Of next year, 2024, and then it can be renewed for an additional 3 1-year periods if we so choose. As I said, we have been getting this chemical from Allied. We use in the water division approximately 165 dry tons of this chemical on an annual basis, and the bid for this cost was $721.06 a dry ton, which is a savings over what we were previously paying, and I have that. It was $972 a dry ton previously. I looked up what changed in the industry. This is a very unusual, happy time that we can say we're paying less for a chemical. This rarely happens, but I guess what they do to make this chemical is they take salt water and they run with electrolysis, they run electricity through it and they make sodium hydroxide. And it's used in many manufacturing uses and exported, and this is like a low for this product. So we hit it at just the right time, bid the bid at just the right time to get a big advantage. So the annual cost is approximately $118,000, this is more than approximately, $118,974.90 based on our average usage of this product, and staff recommends approval to Allied Universal Corp.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Nan, for the presentation. No, it just goes to the, again, Commissioner Freeney's comments about the due diligence and what they do. And part of that stewardship over taxpayer money is also timing. And so sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's not necessarily luck. But just want to say thank you, Nan, for what you do and about the item. But that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Kudos.
Okay, anybody from the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing or hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Okay, Commissioner Gao and Vice Mayor Twarnga. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Nan, thank you very much.
I'm just staying.
Oh, boy. And Deborah's not here. This is Deborah's favorite subject. All right, we'll move on to action items, which is the awarding of the bid for the removal of disposal of sludge in the amount of $1.6 million.
Okay, well,
Welcome.
good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, and City Manager. Again, this is Nan Bennett, Utilities Director. I also have with me Brian Antonian, who is our wastewater treatment plant manager, and to help answer some questions. So this particular award is for the removal and disposal of sludge. As you probably know, that when we treat wastewater, we create clean, reusable, reclaimed water, because 99% of what comes to us is just clean, pure water. And so we treat that, and then we sell that back to the community as an alternate source of irrigation water. But there is a part of that that has to be removed, the solids portion. And so that is approximately 89,000 gallons a week that we have to dispose of properly in a way that's, safe for the environment and everything. So this contract is to award this to a contractor that will be responsible for taking away the liquid portion of the solids liquid portion. That they'll provide all the labor, all of the equipment, and the materials. They will also maintain paying for all their permits and licenses and registrations, as well as complying with all rules and regulations and record keeping. We advertised for this bid on July 14th, 2023. 13 companies took copies of the specifications. We did receive only one bid by the time of the bid closing on August 15th. That was for Appalachian Material Services of Parrish, Florida. We have reviewed this, and they have met all the requirements of the specifications and found to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Their bid was for 11.49 cents per gallon, and that is an increase over what we've paid previously. We were paying in the previous contract to the same contractor 8.29 cents per gallon. The reason that has changed significantly is that the rules in Florida changed significantly on July 21st, 2022, where biosolids and land application has a lot more requirements regarding best management practices as monitored by the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs. They have to be permitted. They limit the amount of nitrogen and phosphorus that can be put on any given land site. They also limit that no sludge can be land applied if the surface water, the seasonal high water table is within 6 inches of the ground, so that it can't get into the water. This is, the phosphorus and nitrogen are good in the soil and in plants, not good in water, so that they're trying to keep it where it provides a additive to the soil. And all of the requirements for that have been put over to the hauler and to the landowners to keep those records, to hold those permits, and to assure that they're doing the right things. And that was a change in 2022. And so I presume that to be the reason that the costs went up as much as it did.
Gas prices too, I'm sure.
And gas prices contribute. There is also a load charge fuel adjustment that's allowable after the first year, because they know what the gas prices are this year, but they won't know. This particular bid is for a 3-year period. It has 2 one-year extensions on it. And Appalachian Material Services, AMS, has been our hauler for over 20 years with very satisfactory service.
30 plus years.
Okay, I'll let Brian answer any further questions or.
Okay, any questions for Brian?
Yes, I do. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate that, Nan. Good update. The requirement for an adjustment, is that simply based on fuel? Only based on fuel? Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mayor, may I? You had mentioned, and thank you as well. It was a good presentation. 13 companies looked at this, and we got one bid. Do you have any indication or speculation on why 12 others didn't?
Yes, we are currently process liquid sludge, and probably every municipality is making cake or, a different process than what we currently have. We don't have any land to add a process. We need land to add a process to make cake, either it's a centrifuge or a sludge press. So that was a big issue right now. So right now, and then you have odor issues with that type of process. So right now we're liquid. Well, we're dewatering from 1.5% to 4%, and that's what we're hauling out as liquid. And no other haulers really are hauling liquid at this time. For years, they're hauling cake.
Just wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that we could improve on, I guess.
Is there a reason, is it less expensive to haul cake? I presume it is.
I think it's lighter.
We're going through a lot of these determinations and feasibilities.
While you're working
Pinellas
on-
County is looking at a regional resource facility where we would all take the biosolids to one location. And you're trading off. You're hauling more, and so you're paying more for transportation because a lot of it is water. But then the other thing is we just don't have any more land. There's really no place else on our site. We're landlocked at that site. We don't have room to dewater any further because we'd have to put in another process, and there really is nowhere left on our wastewater treatment plant to put that.
I was just thinking of the Coca-Cola property, part of that. That's what I was thinking. I don't know how much land you need, I have no idea how big, what you were talking about, but that's why I was asking.
We are working with Pinellas County. They're looking within the next 10 years to make a regional facility somewhere. They're planning on locating it at the solid waste facility where the waste energy facility is, co-locating it there. And they're doing it for themselves, for Pinellas County, because they have two plants, one in the north and one in the south. But they're offering, other utilities if they want to participate in that. And we're looking at the feasibility of that and whether that is cost effective and makes sense for Dunedin, but we are participating in the discussions and the development with the county.
Okay, and you may not have the answer to this question, and it wasn't anything I even thought of during agenda review, but I guess my question is there a need for us to look at a certain piece? I know we're already looking at a piece of the Coca-Cola property ourselves. Is there a need to look at another piece of that? That's what I'm asking. You may not be able to answer that right this second, so I'm not trying to pressure you. But if there is, we need to get that into our thinking.
Yes, we do. Not only for the handling of the biosolids, but there's also another regulation coming up, the Senate Bill 64, that says that, we have to stop discharging the effluent out to the sound. And so we're looking at possibly other ways, storage and or some other disposal options that we could do to handle that, because we make a lot of reclaimed water too. And land, it's always the land that limits our ability, what we can do.
So and I'm just saying this, and I'm looking at Jennifer and Jorge, let's certainly have some foresight. If there are things we need, let's make sure we get it into our future idea plan, if nothing else, or into our future plans, because now would be the time to do that. And, it's an enterprise fund, so it doesn't impact us as much as maybe if this was a different situation, so.
Got it. Yes.
Anybody else?
Just one more real quick question, and it's a small one. Just this is all focused on solids from wastewater as opposed to, and they're probably different terminology, but anything that we would gather from our catch basins in our stormwater runoff. This is stormwater, this is wastewater.
Totally separate.
Totally separate.
This is only wastewater. It has to be handled totally separately, like the street sweepings and things that we take out of the stormwater system has different rules and regulations, totally separate.
Thank you.
I appreciate your comment about this dewatering issue, and I think if we didn't have this rule, this recent rule in 2022, this might have caused us a bigger issue. I'm glad that the county is working on this, and we've talked about that or heard that before. But I think it's really an important part of this because given the fact of our location and what we're trying to do and the cost of this going up and then the regulations, and if there are additional at some point in time, if they say you can't, wow. So I appreciate you looking at this way off into the future. Serious, could be a very serious issue. Expensive. Thank you.
And I'll be honest, I worry about when the county says they want to do something and add everybody in because they say that and then it doesn't happen. Just saying. Okay, any public input? I see the smirk, Jorge. Seeing or hearing them?
Burn center, you know. They do have the burn place.
Yeah, of course they
take
do.
our stuff there.
Burn, baby, burn.
I know, and we pay for it. well.
Ask Jeff about that. Okay, can I have a motion to approve this contract?
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Franny, Vice Mayor Twonga. Any final comments?
Just sounds like a kind of cake I'm not interested in, that's all. I did want to say, again, as I listened to both of you, and it's government week and honoring our employees, but again, I'm just glad we have smart people in the right seats, you know, guiding us and thinking ahead, because clearly you've thought about these things and continue to. So thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. I saw Les walk in, so I knew we had a budget discussion. Resolution 23-25 on our second budget amendment for the fiscal year of 2023. Jennifer, would you please read Resolution 23-25 by title only?
Resolution 23-25, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dunedin, Florida, amending the city's operating and capital budgets for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022, and ending September 30th, 2023, and providing for an effective date. That was Resolution 23-25, read by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Vice Mayor Twonga. Okay. Les.
Good morning, Mayor,
Ashley.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Les Tyler, the Finance Director, and I'm here with Ashley Kempton, our Budget Manager. As mentioned, this item is Resolution 23-25, and it's amending our fiscal year 23 operating and capital budget. The total budget amendment in this staffing report is an increase in appropriations of $4,375,212 in various funds in fiscal year 23. The proposed amendments are on pages 2 through 6 in the staffing report and also listed in Attachment B, which is the resolution, and Exhibit A attached to the resolution. I'll briefly go over the budget amendments. The first, starting with the general fund amendments. First item is an increase in special events revenue budget of $45,000 and an expenditure increase of $25,000 for Wines and Blues and Mardi Gras marketing and Chamber of Commerce items that have been deemed ineligible expenses of the CRA fund. This is to reclass the expenses and offsetting revenue from the CRA fund to the general fund, and this results in a net increase of $20,000 in fund balance in the general fund. The next item in the general fund is an amendment to transfer budget of $3,489 from operating supplies in the fire department to the fleet ISF replacement. This was for wrap graphics on a new ambulance that was ordered in 2023. This amount exceeded the Pinellas County reimbursement of $250,000 for that new ambulance. There's no impact to fund balance with this item. The next item is a transfer budget of $21,341 from the Park Maintenance Machinery and Equipment account to the Fleet ISF contribution. This is for replacement vehicles 16 and vehicle 602, Kubota replacements. There's no net impact on fund balance on this. Again, this was a transfer. And this item was presented to the City Commission on February 21st, 2023, as part of the fiscal year 2023 fleet replacement plan. Next item is M. This is an increase in expenditure budget of $20,400 to cover the cost of an HVAC replacement unit at the health center. That unit was not working. It was needed to be replaced, but was not in the budget for 2023. So it was completed during the summer. The last general fund item is an increase in expenditures of $43,300. This is for the cost of purchasing 2 replacement motors for the fireboat. This results in a decrease in fund balance, and this was a part of a delegated authority memo dated August 24, 2023. And the next fund is the county gas tax fund. We had an increase in the county gas tax transfer out of $34,657. This budget is being transferred to the penny fund as part of the new City Hall project. Of this amount, $14,294 is coming from the county gas tax portion of the pavement management project for milling, paving, and road safe barriers, and $20,363 is coming from the county gas tax fund balance for ADA ramps and restriping of sidewalks. This budget adjustment is to advance work that was otherwise would have been required after the City Hall project had been completed and we moved into City Hall. As such, the intent of including this work as a change order was to minimize future construction impacts to the adjacent residents and businesses prior to the completion of the City Hall. This results in a decrease in the gas tax fund balance of $20,363, and this item was presented to Commission on September 19th, 2023, which was change order number 1 to the new City Hall construction project. The next fund is the penny fund. We have a couple in the penny fund. The first is an increase in expenditure budget of $84,000 for extending the architectural construction administration services provided by Harvard Jolly for the new City Hall project. Manhattan Construction was obligated to have substantial completion on September 4th, 2022, and final completion by October 4th, 2022, which did not happen. As such, the requested budget amendment is estimated as an additional 6 months at $14,000 per month. And this results in a decrease in fund balance in the penny fund. And this item was presented to City Commission on April 20th, 2023, and it was Harvard Jolly architectural increase to purchase order for extended construction administration services. The next item in the penny fund is an increase in transfer in revenue for the new City Hall of $45,170 to account for transfer out of pavement management project cost of $14,294 from the county gas tax fund and $10,513 from the stormwater fund for milling, paving, and road safe barriers, and also $20,363 from the county gas tax reserves for ADA ramps and restriping. This again is part of the City Hall project budget. We increased the City Hall project budget by $271,646 for ADA ramps, restriping crosswalks, and crosswalk pavers. Of this amount we mentioned earlier was $45,170 as accounted for, as mentioned above, and also we had $180,000 will be transferred from the penny portion of the pavement management project and $45,589 from the penny reserves. This budget adjustment again was to advance work that was otherwise would have been required after City Hall was completed, and this item again was presented to the City Commission on September 19th, 2023, change order number 1 to the new City Hall construction project. And the next fund is the CRA fund. We had a decrease in special event revenue budget of $45,000 and an increase in expenditures of $25,000. This was the opposite side of the transfer I mentioned in the general fund. We've deemed that the Wines and Blues and Mardi Gras marketing and Chamber of Commerce items are deemed ineligible in the CRA fund, so we've moved those to the general fund. Next item in the CRA fund is an increase in capital expenditure budget of $160,000, in the downtown paver improvement project. Of that amount, $35,000 was a reclass from professional services account. This results in a net decrease in fund balance of $125,000 in the CRA fund. And this item was presented to the City Commission on June 6, 2023. Awarded bid 23-1230 for the Main Street Sidewalk Improvement Project. And the next penny fund amendment is a reclass of $200,000 in the expenditure budget to the appropriate general ledger account. This is an accounting entry this is for the Skinner Boulevard project. We had put that in the budget as being professional services and for the Skinner Boulevard project, and later on determined it should have been coded to aid the governmental agencies account, and this is for the funding that we sent to FDOT for part of the project. So there's no net impact on fund balance, and again, just an accounting entry. The next fund is the Water Wastewater Fund, and there's a few adjustments in this fund. First, an increase in expenditure budget of $202,000 for the increased cost of a Vector truck replacement. The quote was for $494,200. The Water Wastewater Fund had already contributed $292,000 to the fleet fund. So this resulted in a $202,111 decrease in the Water Wastewater Fund to fully fund the purchase of that Vector truck. And that item was presented to the City Commission on February 21st, 2023, as part of the fiscal year 2023 fleet replacement plan. The next item in the Water Wastewater Fund is we had a reclass of $72,000 expenditure budget from repair and maintenance to annual IT licensing to move the expense to the proper general ledger account. This again was an accounting entry with no net impact on fund balance, and this was taken to commission on January 24, 2023, with the approval of Badger Meters and Beacon's AMA Managed Solutions for the Water Wastewater Fund. The next item in this fund is an increase in expenditure budget of $926,903 for the lift station repair project for an increase in estimated project cost. The total estimated project cost was $1.3 million and is now estimated to be $2,226,000. Expenses are expected to be partially offset by a grant, and this results in a decrease to fund balance in the Water Wastewater Fund. And this item was presented to the City Commission on March 21st, 2023. This is awarded bid 22-1215 for sanitary sewer lift station rebuild in the total amount of $1.7 million. The next item in this fund is an increase in expense budget of $2,734,000 for the increased project cost for the Water Wastewater Lift Station Force Main Replacement Project and TLC contract. This results in a decrease in net position. This item was presented to the City Commission on April 18th, 2023. It was the City of Dunedin Wastewater Lift Station Force Main Replacement Project staffing item. The next item in this fund is a transfer budget savings of $206,500 from the Curlew Reclaim Tank Paint Project to the process equipment for repairs and maintenance project, and $125,000 from the lift station repair project to the wastewater lift station pump replacement project for the purchase of flight pumps for the wastewater operations department and wastewater collections department, respectively. There's no net impact on fund balance. This is just transfer. And this item was presented to the City Commission on May 2nd, 2023. Item was purchase of flight pumps for the wastewater division treatment plant and collection operations. The last item in this fund, the Water Wastewater Fund, is an increase in the expense budget of $108,225 for an additional SRF loan compliance services provided by Angie Brewer and Associates. Due to the increased time for these services has been required as a result of the fire and the extended closeout of the water treatment plant refurbishment design build contract. This results in a decrease to net position. And this item was presented to the City Commission on September 15th, 2023. Change order number 1 to Loan Administration Compliance Services for SRF loan with Angie Brewer Company. And the next fund is the Stormwater Fund. Had an increase in stormwater transfer out of $10,513. This budget is being transferred to the Penny Fund, and this was part of the the new city hall transfers that we discussed earlier, and that came out of the paving management project for milling, paving, and road safe barriers. And this item was presented to the City Commission as part of the September 19, 2023 presentation for change order 1 to the new City Hall construction contract. Next is the Fleet Fund. We have a couple items here. The increase in Fleet ISF revenue budget of $202,000 and an expenditure budget of $232,000 for the increased cost of the Vector Truck 542 replacement. That was mentioned earlier, that the general fund had transferred money to the Fleet Fund to fully fund that Vector truck. The quote was for $494,000. The Water Wastewater Fund contributed $292,000. This results in a $30,121 net decrease in net position in the Fleet Fund. And this item was presented to the City Commission on February 21st, 2023, as part of the fiscal year 2023 Fleet Replacement Plan. Next item in Fleet is an increase in Fleet ISF revenue budget and capital expenditures of $3,489. This was for the wrap graphics that was mentioned earlier for the ambulance. The county paid $250,000, and the graphics were slightly more than that. And there's no impact to fund balance in the Fleet Fund with this item. Next item in the Fleet Fund is an increase in revenue and capital expenditure of $21,341 for Parks Maintenance Vehicle 16 and Parks Vehicle 602, their Kubota replacements. There's no net impact on net position with this transfer. This item was presented to the City Commission on February 21st as part of the fiscal year 23 Fleet Replacement Plan. Next item is an increase in the Fleet Fund, a revenue budget for capital lease proceeds and capital expenditures budget by $900,000. This is for a Fire Truck 103, which is an E1 Typhoon pumper truck. There's no impact on net position for this. This is just recognizing the debt proceeds that will be needed to purchase that vehicle once it's delivered to the city. And this item was presented to the City Commission on February 21st, 2023, part of the fiscal year 2023 Fleet Replacement Plan. And the next and last fund is the Facilities Fund. There's an increase in expense budget of $35,000 for a custodial contractor due to the increase in square footage at the new City Hall. This resulted in a decrease in net position, and this item was presented to the City Commission on September 15th, 2023, as part of Amendment Number 1 to the American Janitorial, Inc. contract for custodial services. So that walks through the changes by fund, and then just want to mention that Attachment C at the very end, the last page in your staffing, shows the estimated ending available fund balances by fund. We always show that with our amendments, and it shows the beginning amounts and also the estimated amounts at the end of 23 for each of those funds. All the funds meet or exceed the reserve targets, with the exception of the CRA fund. The CRA fund, projected fund balance is slightly under the goal of 15%, but there is still adequate fund balance projected at year end in 2023. And that concludes our comments, and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
Yes, I have questions. Thank you, Les. Long report, good report. We needed to go through the detail of it. I did previously. Just as an overview, so point number 1, was this taken into consideration, and we were fully aware of it because obviously we voted on many of these things as they went along, for the budget that we created for 2024?
Yes, it was, yes.
Thank you. So the big one in here, of course, is water and wastewater, not it just is. And we understand what happened there and why that happened. And of course, that's an enterprise fund. And so there'd be consequences for that, I would guess. The CRA, I was a little concerned about that one, only because of your last page, as you stated, what that did to their reserves. I guess this is another example of we've been kind of hitting that CRA kind of hard, I think, in the budgeting. But it also should make us always aware of the fact that as we see budget amendments, when we hear them up here, they come along and it's just this little bit amount and this little bit amount, and none of us has a calculator as we go along adding all of this up to see what it's really going to be. Are we going to have any more budget amendments?
Yeah, we will have one more budget amendment. We'll have a budget amendment in mid-February, and that'll be our final budget amendment. November, excuse me. In mid-November, that'll be our final one, yeah.
And do you have any feelings about what that might be as it might relate to the impact on the fund balances? Any input at this point?
Yeah, I can't give specific numbers at this point. We do have for sure a half a dozen more that we'll be bringing forward, and we'll also be analyzing all of our funds. We're doing that now at year end just to make sure that we don't have anything trending over, from a variance standpoint, because we'll make those adjustments if we find any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, any questions?
Yeah, Mayor, thank you very much. And the Vice Mayor hit on some of them. Just wanted to make sure that we only had one more adjustment presentation, and that will be used to just kind of tighten up 2023, and we'll be done with 2023. And it's always been one of my concerns, and the Vice Mayor hit on that, is we see these individually, and we don't see the numbers adding up, and so it's kind of in our face a little bit when you see some of these numbers. And so I'll just talk on a general basis. Are there, within all these adjustments that we've done throughout the year, are there any lessons learned, unanticipated budget amounts that all of a sudden we're under budget in? Are there lessons learned, or are these just part of emergencies that come up, or unanticipated inflationary pressures that are raising the price of things? Are there any lessons learned? I don't know whether that's a question for you, Les, or division directors. I don't know where that goes, but I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I can say in general, the majority of these are unexpected events, HVAC replacements that, they go out. We budget so many, but some of them fell, and they weren't in the budget for that year. We had the fireboat motors that came up that, that was not expected. We were planning on doing a major repair to one motor, but it turned out we needed 2 new motors. That was unexpected. So I think and a lot of the projects were just inflation, just, especially in the water wastewater fund, just for many of them, just costs going up for projects.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Commissioner, thank you.
No, I mean, went through this with scenes in detail, but I guess I'll ask my standard question. From what I can see and what we've discussed, there are some delegated authority items like the air conditioning and the motors that were, you couldn't expect that and you had to deal with them. But other than that, these are all things, the big items that we've seen before. It's been explained to us before, we voted on them. So
Yeah.
this is just recapping them.
That's correct for the large, that's correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Larger items.
That's all I have.
Any questions, Commissioner?
Yes, ma'am. So with regards to the next budget amendment, and I'm curious as to whether or not, what are going to be the big forcing functions, the big drivers coming out of that? Because I think I'm echoing the comments here of my colleagues with regards to, and it's clear that we made decisions on all of these items, but when we put them together into a single budget amendment like this, it does become a little bit confusing. And so I think this kind of tails on to Commissioner Gao's the lessons learned. Next one, what's that one going to look like? You prepared for a snapshot on that, or if not, that's okay.
You're going to have to talk in the microphone, Ashley, please.
Yeah, we have some accounting, we'll have a few more accounting reclasses that we had a few today, and those are just really just accounting entries. They're not affecting fund balance. They're just going from one account to another. And sometimes we realize those as we're doing year end and we're preparing for the audit, which we're just starting that now. We'll realize that particular line item probably should have been put in a different one. We run across a few of those every year. We'll have a few of those. I don't expect a whole lot more in the general fund. The general fund, mention that because we always focus on it. It actually had a pretty small impact in this particular amendment. The largest impact in this amendment was by far the water wastewater fund, as you all saw. So, and most of the other ones were not that significant. CRA had some pretty large, a few dollar amounts, but most of them were fairly insignificant, I thought, for the size of the fund. But yeah, so we'll have a few cleanup items. We'll have probably a few. We'll analyze all the accounts and make sure that we don't have variances at year end that we're not, that we need to. Sometimes we'll see we're trending over in a certain department, and we'll make an adjustment for that, if we happen to be. But in general, we're not expecting a whole lot. At this point, we're still going through it, being quite honest, but not expecting a whole lot.
Yeah, good. I appreciate that. And then the CRA, it looks that reclassification of $200,000 for Skinner Complete Street. That looks to me like basically I'm not using the right words, but pushing $200,000 forward to next year to cover cost. Is that correct?
No, actually on that one, we coded that to professional services when we approved the budget in '23, and then we later realized that the proper account for that would be aid to organizations, because that particular money was sent and being sent to FDOT as part of the Skinner project. So aid to organizations was a better...
Aid to government agencies.
Aid to government, sorry. Aid to government, excuse me. Aid to governments was a better account. So all that was a reclass from one account to another in the same fiscal year.
Good, yeah, okay, I got that one too, thanks. The last question would be the wastewater, obviously that's the forcing function there, but it being an enterprise fund, is there some mitigation or get well plan as part of that? I know we're being forced by, inflation, an inflationary period here, but I'm just curious on your perspective.
Yeah, well, we have a rate study planned in the will be started in the very near future. We have for the water wastewater fund, we budgeted a rate study in 2024 in the current budget. So we'll be starting that in the very near future and plan to work through that to, during 24 to help us guide us, 25 and future years with the needs in that fund.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
At what point will we see the final result of the general fund end of the year number? Will it be in November when you have this other? I don't mean an audited number. I mean after these adjustments, your best guess. Because, obviously I'm curious to see how it affects the future.
Sure. I don't think we'll have a real good number by November 15th or that next meeting. But I do think, because we've got lots of accruals that we need to work through in October, November. But I do think by
January.
By January 1st, we should be able to have be able to show you some good numbers, what we think we're going to be for general fund in 2023.
Okay. Because you remember, like back in the day when we were dealing with the penny fund and trying to understand what was happening to the penny, and we wanted to have, more regular reporting.
Sure.
We're looking at the future of the general fund, and everybody's worried.
Mm-hmm.
But, according to this report, you've got another $4 million going in there. I want to see how it pans out in the future. I understand that'll all get spent. I understand it's just a matter of where the money is. But,
Right.
I do want to see how it affects the future years. And I think we all would.
Yeah,
So it might be a good
we can do
good
that.
thing to do in January as just an update at one of our meetings, maybe under workshop items, just to see where we are. And with those budget amendments going forward, I think we should be watching that. Because there's a lot of decisions where y'all are asking us to make, that we all want to make. So, we did the same thing with the penny. And I think it was extremely helpful to get us to where we all needed to be. And I think this could too, so.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
I think that it's important to note, in looking at this budget amendment and the next one in November, that we are audited every year.
Yeah.
And for the past 2 years or 3, we've had no findings on the audit.
Yeah.
So it's really important to, to keep all the accounts and
Absolutely.
exactly where they need to be as far as the expenditures go, because there's nothing better than a clean audit like that with no findings whatsoever, so.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, anybody from the public wish to come and speak to this item? All right, seeing or hearing none, I'll go back to the maker of the motion, Commissioner Franny.
No additional comments.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I have nothing additional.
No comments.
Yeah, I just want to echo what my colleagues have said. I understand the purpose of the budget amendments, and I understand the necessity to essentially close out 2023 and make sure that we have everything laying flat. It's just, I will be very interested to see future year impact as a result of this. That's going to be very important going forward. And January, I think, is a great time to do that. So anyway, I thank you for the detailed presentation. I have no doubt that we're doing the right things here. But when that $4 million kind of jumped out at me, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for all your hard work. We got to help you figure out a better way to make that presentation. It's painful. I love you, Les, but that's a painful presentation.
I could do some graphs.
But I will tell you,
Do some graphs.
I'm going to go back and give kudos to Commissioner Gao again, because, there are times where you have this long presentation on adjustments, and Commissioner Gao, when he first came in, said, you need to tell me when we talked about this. And you guys have successfully done that, and literally, that's where I immediately go now. Immediately. Before I even read what you say, I go right to, did we talk about it? And when did we talk about it? Oh, yeah, okay. And so, I think that keeps it very transparent. And we've, over the years, have changed our process. The budget amendment comes after we approve the item. It used to come before. And that would drive us crazy, because it was like, well, we haven't even approved this yet. So I do believe in the process, and I thank you for all that work. I'm sure Ashley and you have been like keeping up this document for about 8 months now, which is, I know, a total pain.
Mayor,
Yes,
I know it's your comment period, but if I can just interject.
No, go.
We do attach the individual budget amendment to the agenda item when we send it to you. So,
Oh, I know.
Right. I
That's
just
what I
wanted to say that.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm really, happy with the process that we have. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. So thanks for all the hard work. And you'll get us something in January on the general fund, at least an update. I don't care if it's an audited number. I don't think any of us care. We look at unaudited numbers all the time. It's just to give us a sense of how our future is being affected. Okay, so roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Walker.
Aye.
Commissioner Gao.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Torga.
Aye.
Commissioner Franny.
Aye.
Mayor Boszowski.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, then we have the proposed agenda for October 31st. Can I have a motion to approve? And that might be a flexible agenda, given what's on it.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor Twanga and Commissioner Gao. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Michael, we're going to take a break before you get started. Let's take a couple minutes break, and then we'll move on to our workshop item. Welcome back to our commission work session of October 17th. We will move forward with our workshop item, which is an update on the EnerGov ERP system and online permitting project. Jennifer, did you have any opening remarks? Okay, Michael?
Thank
Welcome.
you. Good day,
I was going
Mayor.
to say, Michael, you kind of cleared the room. I mean,
I-
it's like nobody.
My only friend is back there.
Hello, George.
Good day, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Michael Nagy, Director of IT Services. I'm here today to provide an update on the EnerGov ERP system and the online permitting project. I will cover some basics about the project, including key terms, the various project phases of the entire ERP system implementation, timelines of events dating back to 2017 that outline the progress of the EnerGov project and the ERP project phases, as well as discussing the events that hindered our progress of implementing EnerGov. If at any time you wish to stop me and ask a question or have me expand on a subject, please do so. So the key terms, and these are important, I think, to remind Commission and the public of what's involved in the EnerGov process. So the ERP is a phrase that describes a large-scale application or software that a business or city would use to facilitate the flow of information and coordinate all resources and activities within our organization. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Enterprise being the large-scale environment, such as the computer network that houses all of our city core data that we use to run our daily operations. Resource is the management of staff and all information involved in the city's operations by means of the integrated computer system. Planning is coordination of the various departments' processes to integrate them into a single system for reporting, for providing real-time flow of information, in our case, public access to the data. Now, our project requires project managers that are staff that are in charge of overseeing the processes to make sure the ERP is installed. I am the city's project manager for the entire ERP implementation project. I coordinate all the planning for our implementation sessions with local staff and Tyler Technology staff. I coordinate the flow of data from our legacy ERP system for conversion into the new system. And I also coordinate the equipment purchases and the third-party applications needed to successfully implement the new system. Tyler Technologies provides a project manager of their own for each of the various ERP phases. They are specialized just in their respective ERP modules. We also have functional leads, called FLs, that are staff that are decision makers for their departments or sections, not necessarily a director or a manager. They can be the person that has the knowledge to make decisions on how the processes in the new ERP system should be configured for their department. Functional leads are required to attend the sessions related to their expertise in any of the ERP modules. The next group of people are subject matter experts, SMEs, are staff that understand the current workflow processes for their department or section. SMEs can also be functional leads. Subject matter experts help build the new ERP modules for their sections. They are also required to attend the ERP sessions related to their area of expertise. We've all heard about implementation and training and thinking they're the same thing, but they're not necessarily. Implementation is the process in which staff actually build out the new system, creating codes, group roles, user attributes, as well as verify and test data from the legacy ERP system. Implementation is not the same as end-user training, but includes training to the functional leads and subject matter experts during the building process and just prior to going live. Tyler Technologies also provides their implementation consultants that actually come on site to help us build, install, and convert the new ERP system. We actually have an EnerGov consultant on site this week. We had them on last week, and they're going to be here continuous through till we go live. So, miss a page there. A typical ERP program for any municipality may have many modules that provide services to the public. In our system, we have modules that include financials, accounting, budgeting, billing, purchasing, inventory, assets management, work orders, permitting with business licenses and inspections, human resource management, payroll, timekeeping, self-service portals for both the citizens and the employees, online payment system, and GIS mappings. So we have a gamut of products that we're implementing citywide. So Naviline has been the city's core ERP system since the tail end of the previous century. Naviline has had many owners. It was developed by HTE, then sold to SunGard, then to Superior, then to FIS, and the current owner is Central Square for the last several years. Each time Naviline ERP product changed ownership, support and service drastically declined. Naviline was determined not to have the technology or the current technology features that other ERP systems offered in their portfolios. They were not web-based at the time. Their online payment system was no longer supported by their own development team. They had no integration with mobile devices. They could not provide real-time data for the citizens. Those modern features were deemed necessary by staff to move Dunedin into the future. That prompted the city to look at other ERP systems. Our ERP replacement timeline actually starts in 2017. In January of 2017, city staff from every department met in a group session to review 3 potential ERP systems to replace Naviline. And collectively, they chose the Tyler Technologies ERP solution. By July of 2017, the city contracted with Tyler Technologies for their Munis, ExecuTime, and EnerGov programs to replace Naviline. In October of 2017, the Tyler ERP was slated to begin implementation. However, our first hurricane, which was Irma, occurred in September, and the effects pushed back the Tyler implementation for Munis financials and timekeeping. By November of 2017, we had our official kickoff. We started implementing Munis and ExecuTime. EnerGov would start the following summer. So our ERP phases, we have 6 of them. In order to implement this new system, we broke them into these workable phases. Phase 1 was our Munis financials that include all the accounting, general ledger, budgeting, and purchasing systems, and that went live in 2019. Phase 2 was ExecuTime, time and attendance, timekeeping system. That phase went live in 2019 as well. Phase 3 is the EnerGov module for permitting, inspections, business licenses, and online payments with a citizen self-portal. Phase 3 is still ongoing with implementation as we speak. And as I mentioned earlier, we actually have somebody from Tyler here in City Hall working with our staff. Phase 4 was the HR system. It included human resources management, payroll processing, and an employee self-service portal. Phase 4 has been live since 2020. Phase 5 is the EAM system. EAM stands for Enterprise Asset Management. This is the module where we maintain all the city's assets. It also includes a work order system, a fleet management tool, and a facilities management module. Phase 5 is still ongoing with implementation. Phase 6 is the utility billing, cash receipts, and general billing. Phase 6 is still ongoing with implementation. Continuing with our ERP implementation into 2018, Munis financials and ExecuTime were underway and being implemented simultaneously. 6 months later, in June of 2018, EnerGov started. So Munis, EnerGov, and ExecuTime were all being implemented at the same time, with city staff from various departments attending their respective modules. Finance staff were the primary attendees in Munis. HR staff were the primary attendees in ExecuTime. Community development, our GIS coordinator, inspectors from fire, engineering, and parks all continue to attend the EnerGov implementation. As the city's ERP project manager, I attend almost every session for Munis, ExecuTime, and EnerGov when possible. If 2 or 3 sessions overlap during a week, I would attend each one briefly. Then continuing with their ERP in 2019, just like in 2018, Munis financials, ExecuTime, and EnerGov were still being implemented simultaneously. In May of 2019, Munis financials went live. In August, ExecuTime, time and attendance went live. The EnerGov ERP module was still being implemented, and the plans were to be live in the system in January of 2020. By November of 2019, EnerGov implementation was halted due to the online credit card payments connectivity issue. The existing Click2Gov online payment system used by Naviline was their proprietary credit card platform and would not work with Tyler's EnerGov system. Paymentus, an online credit card processor, was contracted to connect their system with EnerGov. Since they were the only credit card processor that integrated with both Naviline and Tyler's Munis and EnerGov systems, work started on Paymentus developing and integrating their piece with EnerGov. EnerGov implementation work was ceased for the remainder of 2019 while they worked on that. Then continuing into 2020, by January 2020, Paymentus actually started the development work, creating the software integration module that will connect the EnerGov test database. Keep in mind, each ERP module has a test database, a train database, and a production, as we call it, live database. All development work is done in the test environment. Once an integration piece of software is tested, like Paymentus, and does what we expect it to do, then development work on the production database would begin. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic strikes. Due to many city staff teleworking and third-party contractors not traveling anymore, progress by Paymentus on developing the online credit card program to integrate with EnerGov was slow at best. By May of 2020, EnerGov implementation halted due to staff turnover. Both the city and Tyler Technologies went through some issues with available staff resources to work on our EnerGov implementation. From June through September of 2020, Paymentus incurred staffing issues as well, and their development of the online credit card program struggled to find internal resources. Then, from October through December of 2020, as Paymentus continued working on the development of the credit card piece, but at a snail's pace, they only had one program developer on staff. EnerGov implementation could not continue without the online payment piece from Paymentus. There was nothing more city staff could do with EnerGov implementation until they could test the credit card payments. Then we jumped to 2021. Starting in January through May, Paymentus continued the programming to work out the bugs on the credit card software integration piece. By June of 2021, city staff finally got to use the new Paymentus credit card system on the EnerGov test database. Online payments were a success. In July of 2021, Paymentus started their software development to connect the EnerGov production database. And it shouldn't have taken as long as it did to do the test database. So then Tyler Technologies required that our EnerGov database be upgraded due to an upcoming global change to Microsoft's browser that affected mobile and web applications, which EnerGov used mobile and web applications. This upgrade was a requirement before the city could go live on EnerGov. During the summer of 2021, city staff and Tyler staff started the EnerGov database upgrades on 3 servers. In August of 2021, Tyler pulled the resources working on our server upgrades to work on other clients. Since that Microsoft issue was a global problem, Tyler had to concentrate all of their support staff on the clients that were already live on EnerGov and those that were just about to go live. Since Dunedin was already just at implementation phase and we were at a standstill, Tyler pulled the resources from us. By September of 2021, Tyler Technologies informed the city of their staffing issues with the EnerGov project. After executive-level discussions between the city manager's office, the city attorney's office, and senior executives at Tyler Technologies, Tyler cannot provide us with any staff to continue the EnerGov project until spring of 2022. The city did receive a $38,000 credit for not being able to use EnerGov during 2021. Now, continuing with our ERP implementation into 2022, it has been 4 years since the city started the EnerGov implementation. EnerGov was originally slated to go live in January of 2020, then possibly fall of 2021. Now, May of 2022, the EnerGov implementation resumed as Tyler provided a new project manager and a senior implementer for EnerGov. Initial work started with acquainting all the new recent hires in the Community Development Department to the EnerGov system. Once that initial work completed, Paymentus would continue building on the online credit card platform with EnerGov. Through summer of 2022, EnerGov implementation continued. Then in late September 22, Hurricane Ian struck, halting the progress. Then in October of 2022, the city encountered a cyber attack. EnerGov implementation would remain on hold until recovery through the end of 2022. Continuing with our ERP implementation into 2023, EnerGov implementation still halted. By March, city offices relocated to New City Hall. In July, the city moved the ERP to the cloud from their on-premise servers. And by August, Hurricane Idalia event occurred, causing a slight delay. Then the EnerGov implementation resumed in late August. City contracted with Tyler Technologies for their own online credit card payment system. The city decided not to use the Paymentus for their credit card processing as it was no longer supported by Tyler Technologies. The new online credit card system is called Tyler Payments. This Tyler payment system was vetted and approved by our city's finance department. EnerGov implementation continues and is expected to go live on December 5, 2023. Although the posted presentation states we would go live on November 27th, the new go-live date is December 5th, a week later. It was pushed back a week pending the 5th data conversion pass to upload during the week of November 27th. During that week, no one will be able to enter or change any data in the Naviline system. Permits, inspections, payments, licensing will be put on hold for about that week's time as we prepare for the cutover to EnerGov to go live on December 5th. Keep in mind, these dates are pending as we have not tested the Tyler Payments aspect for a credit card payment. We don't expect any issues, however, staff still need to do that testing of the online credit card payments. Testing should occur in November. Now, as we move into 2024, if we go live with EnerGov in late or end of 2023, we'll just have the two other phases left, which is utility billing and the EAM for work orders and facilities management. Both of those systems were halted due to the conversion of our Tyler ERP to cloud, as well as other major city projects going on in 2023 that affected the progress of utility billing and work orders implementation. It should be noted that Fleet Services Division has successfully implemented their work order system and inventory system this past September ahead of everybody else. Fleet Services is no longer using the old Naviline system for their work orders. Kudos to Scott Caterson and his group for making that happen so quickly. So I know it's a brief outline, but that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy.
Okay. I'll start this way this time. Commissioner?
Could we have done that with puppets or something to make it a little more exciting?
Hey.
Just saying.
I'm just going to say, well,
God bless you,
couldn't have been
Michael, but
worse
that's
than
about
the
as dry
budget
as it gets.
amendment.
That's
I'm
about
just
as dry
saying.
as it gets. I don't know.
Les
Couldn't have been worse than the budget amendment.
Les and I were competing for that.
Although Les did offer graphs, so,
Yeah.
just saying. Mike.
Wow. Yeah, I'm exhausted by that.
I know. It's a lot to take in.
Obviously, what I care the most about is, like, are we ready to hit the finish line? And what I'm hearing is, we're ready to hit the finish line. What are we paying for all this? I mean, what did we pay one time when we took Tyler 5 years ago or 6 years ago? And what's our, ongoing costs?
I apologize. I thought the question would come up, and I thought I was going to prepare for it, and I forgot to get all the information together, but I can provide that another time. But
Yeah, you can
some time
provide
ago,
it.
I did provide an update.
Yeah.
And I think we're at $2.some million for all the software licensing and all the equipment we needed. Since then, and that might have been 2 years ago I reported that, so there's been an increase in days for implementation. So we may have added on all the other phases probably another couple $100,000. So I could
Yeah,
give
if you could just provide that, Michael.
Yes.
I'm going to pull a question from Commissioner. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can we provide it to you via email? Okay.
Definitely. No, let's do a special meeting.
not-
Maybe a special meeting. Yeah, just kidding. I'm going to pull a page off of Commissioner Gao's book and say, when we look at this and how long it's taken and where we've been, I guess one would be, do we feel like we're with the right company, even though it's been somewhat of a nightmare? And are there any lessons learned that we could have done this better, different, whatever?
I personally believe, and I on behalf of the community development team, they believe EnerGov is the right product. They're very excited about it. They can't wait to move forward with it. This is probably, although we've had so many obstacles halting the EnerGov project, it's probably been the smoothest operational-wise because the department had the processes in place, how they wanted things to work. The others, not saying they didn't, it's just that they did things differently than what the new system provided. Lessons learned is not take on so much at one time. With the staffing resources that we had, probably maybe just function on munis financials and then wait till that was live, and go to the next phase, and wait till that was live, and then do Intergov. But we were in a position where we had a timekeeping system that was no longer supported, and the vendor wanted somewhere around $100,000 to upgrade it. We went with Tyler's product. We were using an ERP system, or currently using Avalon for permitting now, that is so outdated that it would cost us probably just as much today to upgrade it to what's been costing us for Tyler's product. I think really just phasing it out, or putting the phases out further instead of simultaneously doing things. But Dunedin doesn't always do those things. We want to be first in things. We want to be successful. And unfortunately, we had hurricanes, we had COVID, we had cyber attack, we had staffing, we had in third-party integration pieces like an online system, online payment system that halted us. We were ready to go live, but they could not get it working. And then their internal struggles with their staffing, that put us another year or so behind. So it's just unfortunately, it was the Intergov module when all this happened. As I said, it's probably been the smoothest at getting the data and getting the team together to work on it, so.
Mayor, Matt?
Yes.
I want to, if I can, just talk a little bit about that executive level decision or the executive level discussion that we had. And we were actually making really good progress on Intergov. The other, some of the other phases had already been implemented, and we were live. Then with Intergov, the real push was Intergov at that point, and then there was the issue that Michael mentioned with the licensing. And, you know, the issue was specifically that they needed to upgrade their license on a global basis, and that they were going to take up, Tyler was going to take up those companies that were already live to upgrade their licenses. We were not live, and so they put us at the end of the queue, which prompted the telephone call to one of their senior vice presidents in charge of the governmental affairs, and we did consult with our attorney as far as breach of contract issues. Some of the issues have been on the city side as far as staffing goes, without a doubt. And a lot of the issues in my mind have been Tyler's side as far as staffing goes and stops and starts. But, you know, this particular stop was aggravating because we were getting close. I mean, we were pushing hard and we were getting close. So in essence, what they had done is that they committed to us that we would be at the head of the queue when they picked up those cities that had not yet gone live but were in implementation, which they did. So I had several long discussions with BMO in Tallahassee, Fred Springer in particular, about where we were with the contract, whether or not we should, at this point, default or press a default or carry on. And if we were to go that avenue, we would have to rebid the project, start all over again with a different company, which we already had some phases that were already live. So that would be problematic. And I made the decision to move forward with Tyler and just press as hard as we could. Throughout this entire process, you know, it's been bumpy, without a doubt, and a lot of it is in training. I think staff has been great about it on our side. They don't like new things necessarily, but they have been attending the training, especially, you know, all of them have been great. Community development is really enthusiastic. My understanding is about going live on this phase on Intergov. But anyway, that was considered, those decisions were considered whether or not we should proceed with Tyler or not, and we did make that decision in summer of 2022 to proceed and just push as hard as we could.
Okay. Anything else? No, not as far as questions go, so I'll let somebody else.
Commissioner, questions?
Yes, ma'am. So one of the things that just jumped out at me is that it looked like switching horses from Paymentus to Tyler Payments was a little bit impactful in terms of the implementation part of this. And at Paymentus, I just quickly looked it up. That is not a Tyler product.
No.
And obviously, Tyler made a decision to go with their product. So, and you had mentioned that Paymentus worked pretty well in the test environment. Can you elaborate on why that occurred?
So, the city is on Navalon ERP system, using their product called Click2Gov for online credit card payments. Click2Gov did not integrate with Munis because it's a proprietary system for Navalon. the only product out there that we found that would integrate with both Naviline, since we were using Naviline still live with permitting utility billing, and we needed something to work with Munis and Energov, was Paymentus. They claimed that they integrate with both systems. So we vetted them, contracted with them to do that. They started the development on the test environment for Energov. That took quite a long time. We were successful, and then we were ready to have them start on the production server so that we could go live with Energov. Then what happened after the halt where Energov couldn't provide any project management team, during that time, and I will go back, there were two other products, OpenEdge and BridgePay, which worked with Energov and Munis, but they didn't work with Naviline. Leadership in the city decided they didn't want the public to have two different online payment systems. They wanted to go with Paymentus since it will integrate with Naviline, it will integrate with Munis. It would be an easy, people wouldn't even notice the difference. So we didn't go with OpenEdge or BridgePay. But then during that, jumping ahead, going to when Energo was halted after the cyber attack, they purchased their own I don't know which company they purchased, but Tyler purchased an online payment system, and they integrated with their software because they had they were one of the biggest ERP providers, and the issues they're having with OpenEdge or BridgePay, Paymentus, they wanted to avoid those problems with customers and future customers. So they decided to purchase their own system that works real time. We don't have to worry about a third party paying additional integration software piece every year for Paymentus to integrate with Naviline, with Munis and Energov. So when we were getting ready to go start back up, I contacted our finance department and said there's only two products. OpenEdge still integrates with Munis and Energov, and their Tyler Payments do. So finance vetted both of those and determined we'll go with the Tyler Payments since it's already fully integrated, and it's real time, where if we were using Paymentus and you did an online permitting payment, it would deduct from your account, but it would not show in our system until the next day. Tyler Payments will show real time, that moment. So that's why we went with them.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah, my experience with third-party applications has never been smooth.
No.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Last question: what do other municipalities use in comparison to Energov? Is Energov widely accepted? What does that look like? It's very widely accepted. I actually just saw email threads today, people asking questions, people that are asking who they can contact in the city, talk about, like Palm Beach Gardens just asked today, they want to switch to Executive Time. They're already using the other Tyler products. They want to know who to contact in our city to talk about it because they know we've been successful on that since 2019. So it's quite widely used in Pinellas County. Clearwater's on it. Off the top of my head, I can't think of the other cities, but I know we got quite a few, yes. Okay. All right, no, thank you very much.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank you for the presentation. I know it was long. It seemed long to some of us, but there's others that may be looking at it and are curious as to what's taken so long. I'm not saying this to make only a point, and that is that I started a company and had a company, and we provided consultants or contractors on the implementations, on integrations, and on any modules that anybody needed. And the reason why people, and my largest account was JP Morgan Bank up in Pennsylvania, but we did the whole East Coast. And if you can throw some money at it, if you have a lot of money and you want to get something done quick, you bring in an expert. That becomes very expensive. I think the entire implementation here was not wrought by any concept other than the issues that you brought up. You've kept us up to speed and kept us up to date. And the biggest takeaway I take from this conversation today was just a realization of the issues that you went through, and that staff went through, and the frustrations of some of the departments and us being frustrated, but only frustrated by the facts of what was occurring. But the biggest thing is the fact that we're going to do this in December 23. especially for the two guys hiding in the back, meaning for for our planning purposes. And so I think that's just outstanding, and I'm sure it's one of the biggest things that I hear of is we really need this here. Staff has said that, you've known that, and now we got it. How has the question that I have is how has from the standpoint of the budget? Okay, that question sort of came up before. We put a number out there, and of course, as I said, people would then come to us and pay a lot of money because all of a sudden they had one part that wouldn't fit or wouldn't go, or they didn't have enough staff to complete that. Did we use additional outside consultants, and a question about the budget? How did we do to the expectations? Because these are very, very difficult things to really determine.
So we didn't use any outside consultants because there would be nobody that would be trained to be able to assist us in getting Tyler implemented with only their own staff to be able to do that. As far as the budget, we would contract for days. It would say, let's say EnerGov would take 60 days, and 60 days would be like 3 days each month that we were doing implementations to spread that out. So let's say it was 60 days. Well, we used up those 60 days by the time we were ready to go live, and then we were halted. And then when we were able to resume again, we had to purchase additional days. And then we used up those days, then we were halted again. Then we'd have to purchase more additional days. So, and we've come before commission in the past to get the approval on those additional days, because they may have been upwards of like $30,000 to $70,000 for that time. So we've added those increases. So I think we're good through the end of EnerGov with the number of days with what we have budgeted. I don't think we have to add any more days. Hopefully we don't have to. We want to go live on December 5th.
The comment that I made about the company that we had was really in relationship also to the ongoing issues of having things that don't integrate, or trying to keep something, or all of a sudden having something snatched. Because we would have clients that wanted to keep that part, and they needed to have that together. And so therefore then it became tremendously expensive from a licensing standpoint for them. They ended up with only really one company that could come in and fix it, or use somebody like us that had an expert in that particular area. It seems to me like we'll have almost none of that. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're trying to avoid any third-party integrations if we can, because what happens is, although they could get the system to integrate, if Tyler would do a major upgrade, does that integration piece no longer work? And do we have to go back to them and pay more money to have them fix it to integrate? Now, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it's a smooth transition, but we have to worry about those things. So some people may say, don't put all your eggs in one basket with Tyler, but it's when it's our core ERP system and we want things to integrate. We want, when somebody makes an online payment, to automatically have real time and it upgrades or updates our financials. We don't want to wait a day or two. And then let's say we were using a third-party vendor for online payments and something happened in their system. They collected, the citizen made their payment, but we don't get them funding for a week for some reason. So we want to avoid those headaches. And that's another reason why we went to the cloud, is it's a much more secure and reliable system than us hosting 3 servers for Munis, 3 servers for EnerGov.
Have to be in the cloud, yeah. Yes. So HTA was famous with that.
Yes.
HTE was famous for that, because we only had a couple consultants that were really familiar with that, and the cost of doing that. So, in summary, we listened to a long time period, but in fact, we're going to have a total system that works together throughout the city, beginning with this being implemented and it can complete service in December. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Michael, thank you for this presentation. You've heard a lot from us up here, comments and questions. And I know throughout this whole process, you'd hear from us every once in a while, just kind of, hey, can you give us an update? Maybe a little bit of frustration from us on where we were. So I think, at least for me, this whole timeline, let's reminisce and let's go back and find out why we are where we are. was wonderful for me to remind us that, hey, we went through a pandemic, 2 hurricanes, and a cyber attack. Just things that happen, that kind of set us back. Did I say anything incorrectly? Was that
3
right?
hurricanes.
3?
Irma, Ian, and Adelia.
3. I'm sorry. They happen so often, you start to miscount. Sadly. And kind of back to eggs in one basket with Tyler, I know in my experience in banking and finance, it was awfully actually hard to find a company that could handle all the different platforms within a financial institution, whether it's a lending platform, a teller platform, accounting. And so are there any other applications that the city's using that isn't under the Tyler umbrella?
That we would want to integrate with our ERP system?
Yeah. Are there any other applications within the city that we're using that Tyler has and we chose not to go with them, or?
There are.
We just.
They have parking. They have. They do have some other products, several other products that at the time we weren't interested in going with, and I could gather that information, what they are. The only one I knew was parking at the top of my head. But going back to the banking, you're right, they still operate that way today. Banking institutions don't rely on one system. They still rely on numerous integrated pieces, just the way the industry works.
A lot of interfacing.
We're fortunate because an ERP that we use, like Tyler Technologies, they're one company, but their Energov is a separate company from the Munis. Some cities just go with Energov. They don't do the Munis. They don't do anything else for whatever reason. Maybe they're happy with the product they were using. But to me, it's my experience in the 4 decades I've been in IT that having one system that could integrate everything, knowing that it's a major player in the industry, one of the top ones in the country for support in their products, that I wouldn't want to go with anybody else.
Okay. Because I know when I worked for the city of Clearwater, right before I came on here, they were transitioning over to Tyler. And so it was just the fact that I came over here and went, no, the same thing. Very good. All right. No other questions. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Michael, you said you're in, with the online permitting pending success of testing and online credit card payments. So we're going live in November. How confident do you feel about that?
December 5th will be live. The last week of November will be the cutover, where we do our last upload of the current Naviline data into the Tyler system.
Isn't the last week of November Thanksgiving?
It's the previous week. So we were supposed to go live the Monday after Thanksgiving, but we pushed it back one more week. So as long as the Tyler payments aspect works, we haven't seen that yet. They're working on getting it connected to our server, our system, that if that works, I see no reason why we couldn't go live. The staff is very enthusiastic. That are attending the sessions. Last week, for example, we had 3 days of sessions, and the staff that attended were able to accomplish everything in the 2 days because they understand. Those that were there before remember the system and things we've already built into the system. They have a really good understanding of the system. So the 3rd day, we were able to use for other things, Energov related, for GIS and on the IT side. But unless we have some major storm or some other catastrophe, I don't see us not going live.
Well, I think you can understand why I'm asking.
Yes, as long as staff are still committed, which Joey and George can attest to that.
Oh, I
as
think
long as
they're
they're still
committed.
Yeah.
If they not, they need to be.
If not, they might be committed to the insane asylum.
Committed to the project.
We're committed, all right. And then the last timelines, it says utility billing restarts and goes live in fall, winter 2024. I thought, and I may not be able to understand what utility billing is. I'm probably confusing it with something, but I just assume utility billing was the ability to pay your bill online. But I'm assuming that this is where we're sending out our own stuff, or, like, what's the difference?
Correct. So the utility billing module is for citizens to get real-time information on their utilities, make their payments, what our current utility billing department does now of maintaining the records, all that history for 20 years we're bringing over. So it's a big amount of information to be brought over, tested, make sure there are no bugs in it. For example, when you're converting data, you may have somebody not have a correct zip code or phone number field or address field. You got to fix those things. You never noticed it in the old system. So it takes time to do that. But
But right now, they're able to pay their utility bill online.
correct. However, we need to get away from Naviline. We're paying a lot of money for Naviline.
Okay, so the system's going to change.
Yes.
Okay, and then the facility management implementation, what will that do?
So our work orders, currently, the current system for facilities example, they will get a request for something. I'll report, there's a light out in the city chambers. They then will enter the information into Naviline, print it out, give it to the field workers with a piece of paper, come do the work, write down on the paper what they did, then their supervisor has to enter all that into Naviline. The new system will allow them, be a work order, but they'll be able to carry tablets. They'll get their work order. They can take a picture. Here, look, I did the job, I uploaded it. Or for digging a hole and looking at what the piping looks underground, they can do a video of it. So it's real time. So it's our work orders, everything we do. And facilities does them, fleet does work orders for the vehicles. IT does work orders. Engineering does, GIS does, water, wastewater, all the parks operations. They've never used work order system. They did everything manually. They'll all use it to maintain their assets and their workflow. So if parks operations is going to replace a piece of equipment out there in the field or benches, they want to know which ones, how often we replace, and so they'll have that kind of information. Right now, it's all done manually.
So, Mayor, if I may, when you think about it then, as far as our strategic planning process goes and our dashboard, we'll now be able to trace the time that takes to turn around a work order, where it's been sent, how many have been sent there, and we'll be able to trace all of that information, and we haven't been able to do that yet, and upload it to our dashboard as far as what the performance measures are in that department. It's going to be really cool.
And if one department requests something from facilities that's not part of their annual rental fees, it's something new, they could bill that department through the work order system. So it's through the whole general ledger system. So it'll debit and credit where it needs
So when
to.
my air conditioning stops working, you're going to bill me?
We haven't already?
It's an inside joke. It was a joke.
Yes.
Okay,
it
you're
was
giving
funny.
me the look like I killed your firstborn.
Okay, I'm laughing.
It was a joke.
I was like, no, we fixed it, didn't we?
No, you did. You fixed it. You fixed
Eventually.
it. My air conditioning's beautiful, thank you. Okay, those are all my questions. Does anybody have any final comments that they want to make?
Well, I will say this, and just this is in defense of the timeline, because I managed a ERP implementation project a while back, and man, it's a process. Requirements, developing the process, implementation, building out the implementation, the test environment, all of that, you know. So anyway, I thank you very much for the presentation. I was kind of geeking out there for a bit, and anyway, greatly appreciate it.
Oh, good for you.
You know, when I put it together, I thought, well, this is fun. They're going to be excited about this.
Oh, yeah.
But it was on my terms.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would just concur with Commissioner Walker. I had the thrill of doing one of these for about a year ago, and really, I don't know how anybody does this for a career. I mean, I did it as a consultant, and it was the most frustrating year I ever spent. And sometimes I do think these companies, they're a little bit of a Ponzi scheme, you know. But anyway, God bless you, and it looks like we're hitting the finish line, so that makes me happy, and we still feel like this is the best product to go with, so that's good, all good.
Everything that everybody said, and I mean, for me, it's really just about being completed. And being in the 21st century, you know, having our residents be able to access us as quickly and easily and painlessly as possible. You know, I just want to see that. I'm really hoping that this thing gets online in December, and love the work order thing.
We do too.
Yeah, I already got in my head it's going to be January, so I'm not counting on December. There's too many holidays and too much stuff going on. So, anyway, thank you for the update. Let's, you know, we've got our fingers crossed. Thanks for all the hard work I know everybody is going through. It's not been an easy situation.
Could I make one last comment?
Sure.
So getting back on the costs, just to reiterate what was approved in July, if you recall, if the commission recalls, when we contract with Tyler's cloud service, it's $254,000 a year. And we contract for 3 years, so in 3 years' time, when we do new contract, we'll be coming back to, or every year actually, we have to come back to commission and get them to approve that $254,000 cost. Seems like a lot, but if you recall the presentation, that includes all the licensing that we're already paying, the cost, we no longer have to upgrade servers, pay for servers, maintain servers. We don't have the IT staff that has to spend many hours every day maintaining those systems. So the cost actually, to us, was a little bit of a cost savings switching to the cloud system. So don't be surprised next year when I come back to you and you see this $254,000 cost for Tyler. It's well worth it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, and your team. Appreciate it. All right. We are going to go on to informational items, which is commission discussion. Vice Mayor Tornga let us know that he had a request. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I will attempt to really do just a summary for this. A very good friend of mine, he's a patriot, and myself were talking about this attack on Israel, and we were talking about, I wonder what we should do about this, or what can we do about this, and so we came up with a recommendation, or with what we think is the right thing to do, and that's for a resolution supporting the state of Israel, condemning Hamas and the attack, supported by another country. And so that's what I was requesting. And so I'll leave it open for any conversations or questions, or...
Okay, so you want to do a resolution of support. So I guess the question is everybody okay with our staff coming up with what that looks like? Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I think historically, some of what we've done is, obviously, we've condemned violence and terrorism. Sorry, let me put this in. We've condemned violence and terrorism, you know, supported the victims, added it to our prayers. Churches in our city have organically had prayer, you know, gatherings to pray for some of this, and I don't know that we've done...
We did that for Ukraine.
Yeah, and I don't know that we've done resolutions, so, you know, that would just be my only comment. I think, you know, what we've, you know, kind of how we've historically done this in the past has been really good and really brought the community together. But again, I'm you know, certainly want to do what makes sense for the will of the commission.
I don't remember if we did something for Ukraine. I know we had the
I
vigil.
remember, right.
We did the vigil.
I checked.
Or participated.
Yeah, I asked Rebecca, she said no, but we did. I mean, we obviously, you know, did our support things. We had, again, the churches got involved and had great, you know, there was a great thing in Pioneer Park.
If I may, the city clerk has already provided me with an example of a resolution that's involved with this, and there's other cities, and the city of St. Petersburg, you know, starts out a resolution supporting the state of Israel and condemning Hamas in Iran, and then goes on and talks about the attack on October 7, where they came under attack by Hamas and the thousands that were lost, and the continuation of this terror that's being presented to them and could expand greatly. And of course, Hamas is a designated foreign terrorist organization, and now we have Iran supporting them. So we need to stop this.
John, if I may, and certainly not to take thunder away from this, but since we haven't done, if we haven't done a resolution or anything on Ukraine, maybe to do that as well. Just throwing that back out there.
Well, what I would like, maybe the answer is we're denouncing these terrorism acts
Right.
Correct.
across the world. I think we don't talk about it a lot, but it's been mentioned. I think sometimes when we have these things happen, especially when they're not in our own country, it feels almost political. And so we try to stay away from it because we're so far removed from those kinds of things. But I don't see anything wrong with denouncing certain things, and maybe if we keep our language careful, where it's just, we're denouncing terrorism. We don't support those kinds of things. And maybe be just a little less specific and be a little bit more broad. But those, every one of us denounce what occurred. I think if we just do it a little bit more generally, then it's less political, it's just less. I don't know how to say it.
I would agree, and it's sort of what's happening now. The county will probably be doing one of these shortly.
Right.
And St. Pete is doing one, so I appreciate your comment very much. This is really about the terrorism that's being directed here.
It is.
And this thing can really blow it can go worldwide in a heartbeat, just boom.
So maybe if you, Vice Mayor, if you'll work with
Sure.
Rebecca on language that's maybe a little less specific and more broad on the types of things that we are just not going to support.
Thank you.
Bring it back at your convenience.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, if I may, when were you hoping that we would bring this back to all of you?
Whenever there's an opening.
Okay. So it would be the 31st of October?
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if that's workable for everybody.
Sure.
I don't know what's on the agendas, y'all
Right.
look at it.
We can certainly do it, and you don't have to approve presentations on that agenda, so we can certainly do it on October 31st.
So we already have.
It's a resolution,
she's already
right?
provided a great presentation. We have one from St. Pete,
Mhm.
and the county is working on one. So it's a matter of just sort of doing it, looking at it. We'll see it obviously before the soonest meeting we can have, and I think we should do it. I think we should provide some leadership to others.
Very good. So it's a resolution then, and that aspect, you've already approved your agenda for the 31st, so we'll
think it
add this
matters.
on, right?
I mean, whenever it is
We'll add
appropriate
it.
that you all can deal with
Okay.
it.
Sweet.
Okay,
Thank you all.
you're welcome. I didn't get any other requests on commission discussion, so I'll assume there isn't anything. City clerk's update?
No, nothing this time, Mayor.
Okay, city manager update.
Nothing besides the city manager's update, which is attached to your agenda.
Okay,
Do you mind reading that to us?
stop it.
We'll be here.
Jorge, where are
Yes.
you?
Okay, city attorney update? Okay, go to commission comments. Vice Mayor, anything on your liaison positions?
Thank you, Mayor. Just very quickly, I went to the Florida League of Cities meeting last week. On the administrative side, some very important things that are being talked about, a continuation of conversation that really relates to zoning. We're really talking about the short-term rental. We would like to, so we have to determine some of the major items that we have to talk about that we really want to focus on for the legislators. So in this particular case, a little turn took place where we said, we'd really like to just make this a forever thing, but not something that we work on with the legislators. But we have to always be observing of what's happening, certainly for our local rule, so local home rule. One of the items that came up very strongly, and that was supporting what the legislators in the state can do for our first responders across the board to ensure that we have enough first responders, including both on the fire side as well as on the sheriff police side. So great conversations. There were other things. Certainly, cyber security was a big issue for to make sure that we had support and an understanding. Of course, obviously, we're the ones that got hit, and most of them have not. But so I had the opportunity to explain that again of what was happening with that. The Florida League, the Suncoast League of Cities had a meeting recently, and I'll just summarize it by saying we had a presentation from Forward Pinellas, and the concern from the Suncoast League of Cities was a regional MPO, and the mayor's really well acquainted with that whole subject matter. And I think I'll just state that one of the concerns was to ensure that we have a support or representation, and that's the same question that you have on Forward Pinellas currently when we switch, because that's then the MPO, or we're Forward Pinellas is MPO in planning, land planning. So on the MPO, oftentimes they come up with these big regional ones. So the concern was that how is it ruled, and do we have representation? So that's really it. That's just a quick summary, but thank you.
Commissioner, anything from your liaison positions?
Always have things to say. Let me see, I want to remind everybody that on October 28th, we have a Lori White celebration run. And for those who don't know, Lori was a Dunedin resident, graduated Dunedin High School, went on to have a successful career as a country singer, songwriter, producer, and actress. And unfortunately, we lost her in 2018 to cancer. We have a music pavilion in downtown along the trail that is named after her. And so this run walk is to support the performing arts as well as the Lori White Cannon Scholarship Fund for someone who attends a Dunedin resident or the Dunedin school that wants to go on and continue their education in performing arts. Let me see. So everybody, we're all over the internet with that application. Please come and walk and run with us. It's going to be a great day. I also want to remind everybody that we recently it was Walk to School Day, and there were several schools participating in that. Several of us participated in that. And luckily, we have a second opportunity for that, as San Jose had to postpone theirs. And San Jose is having a Walk to School Day on November 3rd. It's going to start at Hammock Park and walk down San Mateo. And it's a great opportunity to support the school, support the kids, and promote walking and a healthier lifestyle. So hopefully we'll get to see you all there. November 18th is the Dunedin Celtic Festival, which hopefully is all over your calendars. I know it's all over mine. And again, that's another wonderful opportunity to support our Scottish culture heritage and all our community schools as well. Also, PSTA, very excited about our public transit system in Pinellas County. And I'll try and keep this short, but Pinellas County has been, or PSTA has been recognized both throughout the state and throughout the nation on the quality of their organization and what they do. We are members of the American Public Transit Association, that's APTA, as well as the Florida Public Transportation Association, FTPA. So just real quickly, in 2023, APTA, PSTA is the most outstanding transit agency. FPTA, outstanding transit agency. APTA, the Adwell Grand Award for Marketing Communications, highlighting transit needs and funding. And wait, there's more. FPTA, Bus Operator of the Year, FPTA Bus Technician of the Year, FPTA Marketing Award for Electronic Media TV, first place. Also, individual recognized in leadership, James Bradford, PSTA's Chief Operating Officer, ONYX Magazine Men of Honor Award, Debbie Leos, PSTA's Chief Financial Operating Officer, Tampa Bay Business Journal CEO of the Year 2023, Trish Collins, PSTA's Human Resource Director for 2023, Central Pinellas Chamber of Commerce Inspire Awards, and there's a lot more that I won't go into, but PSTA is just outstanding in their field. And so please support your public transit agency. Thank you very much.
And these are all awards you guys got in Orlando last week.
Yes.
Awesome, congratulations.
Yes.
Very
Thank
good.
you. Very exciting. Moving forward.
Me? Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for Laurie White. Of course, Laurie, at our centennial of 100 years, performed. She was very pregnant at the time, and she, even in the second half of her show, she performed through the rain, and people really enjoyed her, so she was a great talent. So I think it's great. We're continuing to honor her. And Celtic Festival, definitely be there. Unfortunately, our Toronto Blue Jays didn't last too long in the playoffs. So, that's a little tough on all of us, but especially our Canadian partners. So, anyway, but they had a good season. But
least they made
next
the
year,
playoffs.
hopefully, at least they made the playoffs. But again, we want them to go a little farther, and I know Mr. Mark Shapiro sure does. A couple things, just going to highlight. I think that, one of the times that local government has to step up the most is when there's, tragedies and catastrophes. And, we've had a couple of those things recently. Obviously, our flood victims, and I know that, Jennifer, I just want to recognize you because you met again with the North Douglas people trying to figure out, what we can't do, but what we can do, to help the situation. And I know that you're continuing to circle with the Baywood area as well. And I think those are just important things to just work through. If there's anything we can do, that we do it. Also, I just wanted to recognize, too, there was a situation at the end of the day Friday with some of the tornado victims over in Honeymoon Mobile Home Park. And, unfortunately, one of the individuals they didn't have electric, but one could get their electric turned back on, but they needed a permit from the city. Unfortunately, Duke Energy had given them the county number, so they spent the day trying to get the county when it was actually us. I talked to Jennifer late in the day. She was able to get our staff to help get things situated, coordinate with Duke Energy, get the electric on by 6:30 that night, so they didn't have to put up with that all weekend. And so I just think, again, those are the times you want to be there for your citizens in those moments, and they'll never forget it. They'll never forget that we stepped up. So I wanted to recognize, and tell me who the staff was involved, because
So it was Jennifer, Jewel, Jay, and Chuck were on site with the property and waited there until Duke showed up as
which
well.
is great.
Yes.
And I just want to do a big shout out because, again, no more important time to be there for our citizens. And I do want to do a shout out, too, because a couple of the residents that got hit the hardest in that mobile home, again and again, said Home Depot sent free volunteer teams to help. As a matter of fact, the one mobile home, the team put her wall back up on her mobile home. So I just think that's awesome. I didn't even know they did stuff like that. So big shout out for that. And then just my
Thank you for that, Commissioner. Thank you.
Yeah, I just think that's so important. I was so thrilled, that we were able to do it, and I know it's not always easy. And then the last thing I'll say is a shout out to Dunedin Goes Karting and VFW 2550, because they had a great, and Commissioner Walker was there as well, and they had just amazing, which your cart was next level with Halloween decorations. I thought ours was good, but not as good as you guys. And I know Claudia gets more of that credit, okay? I thought. But it was great. Kids were dressed up. They were coming around. They were getting, candy from the golf carts. VFW did hamburgers and hot dogs. It was just so Dunedin, and it was awesome. And, of course, over the top, some of the decorations. So, kids, dogs, and witches were all there. So.
Commissioner, I think we did more than beer and hot dogs. I think we did beverages.
Oh, yeah, there were beverages. You're absolutely right.
We had a lot of beverages.
Yeah, a lot of beverages. But it was, I heard that, John, you were there, but I didn't see you. We never kind of crossed paths. But anyway, it was awesome. And again, it's just one more reason Dunedin's so amazingly special. So that's it.
Okay, I got a couple of things.
Did you get Rob?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I want to bring everybody's attention to the Dunedin Cares website, dunedincares.org. There is a list of things in here, specifically their wish list in terms of things that they are always in need of. And I'm making this announcement now because I think in another week or two, we'll be starting the annual donation drive specifically. So there will be lots of opportunities to volunteer. There will be lots of opportunities to donate in advance of the holidays. And I think obviously as we get closer to the holidays, the need becomes more critical. So I would encourage everybody to volunteer, to donate, and yeah, I think it'll be absolutely important to a lot of families in the holidays. So,
Rob, if you can, I don't want to speak for everybody up here, but I think it might be nice if you can coordinate for volunteering, maybe an elected officials day or something.
I think it's a great idea, and yeah, actually, there's an aspect. I'll just say they've approached me in the interest of doing a fundraiser, and here, exactly right.
Which I think is a great idea.
I do too, and I think as part of that, there's an opportunity here for the commission to get involved. But to your point, Jeff, I absolutely agree with you, and I'll be talking to Terry here this week. So.
Because we also have peanut butter and jelly costumes. So.
Yeah.
No, mine's
Mine's
waiting.
You can do that.
Yeah, yeah. I would encourage you to go to the list before you start setting up peanut butter and jelly, though. That's all I got to say.
For another time of year.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do they prefer items or do they prefer money?
Yeah, so it's both, actually.
Both? Okay.
Yeah, and, you know, whatever you can give. And that's a great start. So.
They do publish some of the requirements, and then some of the collecting agencies or organizations also go after those items specifically.
Exactly. DunedinCares.org. Great resource.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Mayor, if I could just piggyback off Commissioner Freeney and talking about the tornado, and to acknowledge that we do a lot of planning for hurricanes, and we see them coming week, 10 days, 2 weeks out, so there's a lot of preparation. There was zero preparation for the tornado, yet the speed and efficiency in which our city reached out was amazing. That you see that people were out of bed at 3 in the morning, and I know that wasn't planned. That was a call they got and said, hey, come on in, and they react to that, and that's just something that needs to be acknowledged.
Well, I thought the emergency response was excellent. I mean, just getting that new, sounds like an Amber Alert thing on your phone, but it's not an Amber Alert. I mean, it certainly woke me up, and I was completely annoyed by it, but once I read it, you know, we were up, we were looking around, we were listening for the freight train, I was getting my kid out of bed, which is the hardest thing in the world to do, you know, I mean, so I was very appreciative of the system, so thank you for those comments. Okay, just want to remind everybody that this coming weekend, we have Our Lady of Lourdes Fall Festival, as well as Walt Stone Crab Fest. My friends and I will be working the Stone Crab Fest, volunteering at the beer tents, raising money for the Backpack Lady project. So if you want to come by and buy a couple of beers from us, we'd appreciate it. Tonight is the annual History Museum meeting for its membership. I know it's in all of your calendars. Hope to see you all there. You will meet the new director, Gazala, and just hear about what the future holds. Commissioner Franey was nice enough to work with them on a strategic plan over the weekend. So they're really moving forward, and I'll work on arranging a private meet and greet for you, but I wanted to get through this first, figuring that you now have good stuff to talk about. So that's happening. Our Scotland trip is full. It is completely booked. 48 people, full bus. Trina said that it's the quickest. She's only had 2 meetings and only just got the final itinerary. She says in all the years that she's been doing it, which is about 20 or 30, fastest selling trip in her history. We even tried to make it bigger. We tried to get a second bus, but all our hotels are sold out. Eric from the Scottish Arts Foundation, for those of you who weren't there, was there. He feels like this is a big story because we're coming to Worlds. He wants to hook us up with the BBC. And I want to also coordinate with Visit St. Pete Clearwater, who can then coordinate with Visit Scotland. And then I'll need to work with Jennifer to start making the plans with our various Sterling meetings and kind of getting those things set up. We want to bring Colin into the fold now that we actually have a plan.
I think he's coming back into town this upcoming week.
Yeah, so we'll want to just, sit with him and talk, but I just wanted to give you an update on that. It's
Did everybody get in that wanted to go?
No.
Yeah, it's too bad.
No, but I mean, she's starting a list. People will drop off.
Okay, that's
You know,
true.
somebody will probably drop off. And then finally, I have two really exciting announcements for you. I'll give you the small one first. You know, we've been working on the waterborne transportation plan, and you know that we've been working on our ferry here. As part of that committee with Forward Pinellas, PSTA applied for that New Starts grant. That's what I call it. I know it's called something different. And that's where you get a certain amount of money, 50% of the cost to run a particular transit line for 3 years. You just match it by 50%. We received that grant. It's in the amount of $660,000. Not we as a city, but PSTA, who will be operating this. So we are now all going to go work with the county, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and all the other partners to figure out the funding, who's going to put in what on the other 50%. Can't even give you what that might look like. But we got a 3-year grant, 50%, so this is exciting.
Fantastic.
So that's number one. And number two, if you remember when we went through our budget process back at, over the summer and then even in September, there's been a huge concern about how much our capital projects are costing us. There's been a lot of talk about Skinner Boulevard and if we could change the design. There's been talk about our debt limit and are we concerned about that? And I know I mentioned to you all, look, give me some time. Let me go after some money. I think I told you all that I thought maybe I could get up to $500,000. Well, I'm very excited to tell you that we are going to be in receipt of a $1.3 million grant for Skinner based on carbon emissions. And it's from FDOT, and it is their entire allocation for this particular type of project. They're going to use it as a really, poster child of carbon emissions reductions. We met the criteria because of the slower speeds, because not only of the speed limit, but the roundabouts slows cars, which slows emissions, because of the wide bike lanes, because of the walking paths, and the narrowing of the road. All of those things led to reduced carbon emissions, and we're getting it. I'm just waiting to hear from WIT as to, how that money comes through. But all of that money goes to the cost of the Skinner Boulevard project as a reduction. It's money over and above what we're already getting, so we're reducing the cost of the Skinner Boulevard project. And I'll leave it up to Jennifer, who can decide whether, does she want to put it to reduce the penny strain or the CRA strain? And maybe
And we'll certainly bring that back to all of you.
Yeah.
Yes, what our recommendation is.
So this is all good news. We'll keep poking around.
Outstanding.
So WIT and FDOT, WIT, I'd asked him about it before, and then I asked him about it again after our meetings in September, and, he's like me, we just happened to be in the right place at the right time. It was really FDOT, so at some point, we'll want to bring FDOT in. because this is probably one of the biggest partnerships that they've really done, given all the money they've already given us and are giving, and doing the design work and all of those other things.
So can I just say, I never think you're just in the right place at the right time. You're a dog with a bone, and you're in multiple places to try to make stuff happen. So thank you for staying on that.
Well, I appreciate that. But I also want to listen to my colleagues when they're concerned about our budget. And I feel like there's money to be had, I'm going to go get it. And I think we all feel the same way. So 1.3 million, baby. I can't wait to, maybe in January, when you do the update, Jennifer, on the general
Great.
fund, you can look at those other things, and we can see how we're relieving any of that.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, we're all meeting on the CRA issue, so this could be a huge help in our CRA. I'm hoping we're not going to deal with what we might be dealing with, but I felt it was important that you all knew about this now as you're going into your CRA meetings, because this is a CRA project. So, that's it. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, we are adjourned.